Before we start, I have some very important news. I finished the Goldfinch! Okay, back to business. Yes, I finished the Goldfinch. I am so happy that I finished it. I feel like by the fact that I keep saying, oh, I can't wait to finish, oh, this needs to end now, I feel like I keep making it sound as though I didn't enjoy the book. I really enjoyed the book. It was just so long. I've never read a book that long before, and I just could not be dealing with that anymore. It was too long for me. I lost interest. I like reading a short book, getting out of the way, moving on. That is how I like to work. So, that was new. But yes, I finished it. Overall, I loved the book. I did feel as though the first half of the book was so much better than the second half. I felt very let down by the second half. I'm not going to lie. I really, really did. I felt as though that it got not worse, but progressively worse as it went on. It started out so well. I'm going to post a review for it this week. You will get to see where I'm at with that. I don't want to go into too much detail. That will all be in the review. But I just felt that it started out so strong and so well, and it was so well written and so well done. And then the second part of the book was just a little bit of a letdown. Still good, but not as good. Yeah. Overall, a very good book. I really did enjoy it. I thought it was great. I am glad I read it. I am glad it's over. But yes, I really did. So that's really all I'm going to say about that. You will get a long review. It's going to be a very long review. I have so much to say about this book. But yeah, that's pretty much it from that book right now. Okay, the second book, In an Instant, it's taken a bit of a back burner, to be honest. I feel as though when I did my last one, I said I wanted to focus on finishing the Goldfinch, getting that out of the way, and I did that. And then straight after that, I started my buddy read with Jess the Bookish Nerd from Instagram, and we started reading The Host together, and we agreed to do 100 pages a day of that book, and just with work and then being busy, finishing the Goldfinch and other things like that, I feel as though I've focused so much on getting those 100 pages done. I'm focused on finishing the Goldfinch that I haven't really read that much of In an Instant. I think the last part I read, she's dead now. And I think the last thing I actually read was when she died. And that's it. But I am going to carry on with that this week. Now that I finished the Goldfinch and I'm only working sparsely throughout the week. I'm working from home most of the week. I'm only going in once this week, I think. And the rest of it I'm working from home. So I will have a lot of time to read. So once I've done the 100 pages of The Host, I will then read In an Instant. Hopefully The Host will be finished next week. If I continue with my 100 pages a day, there's about 624 pages. So 6 days. We started on Sunday, should finish by Saturday. So that'll be good. That'll be done by the 15th. And then that gives me time then to finish In an Instant if I haven't already by then, and then move on to my next books, which are Carrie and then The People versus Alex Cross, plus 113 minutes. I still have a lot to get through this week. I'm very, very concerned. This month, I'm very concerned. But I think I can do it, and I'm very excited to do it. I do like the setting myself a target. I didn't think I would, but I really do. I don't really set myself a target with books, but with The Host, we've said 100 pages a day, and I thought, oh, I'm not going to enjoy reading 100 pages. Like, I can read 100 pages a day. Easily, I can read 200-300 a day if I want to, if I'm really enjoying the book. But once I set myself the target and say, this is what you have to do, I'm like, do I though? And that's where I'm at with that. That is how I work. So I don't like setting myself a goal, because if I don't meet the goal, I then feel quite bad. And then if I do meet the goal, I'm like, easy. So I just read for the fun of it. I don't want to set myself a target and make it not fun and make it a chore anymore. So I've never done that. But doing it worked. It's not a ridiculous target, 100 pages a day. So I like the idea of doing that. So I may continue that on with the rest of these books, because I've still got this book in an instant, and then two 300-page books, and that's a lot for me to get through in, well, by the 29th. That is a lot of work for me to get through. So I think I can do it, but I will need to set myself maybe a bit of a target to make sure that I keep going at the pace that I want to, because the 29th is coming up very fast, and I just don't think I'll be prepared otherwise. So I'm going to be doing that. Now, to actually talk about The Host. I love it. I absolutely love this book. I think it is one of the best books I've ever read. So The Host is about people on Earth losing their lives. They're being taken over by aliens from another planet. They are the souls, and basically the soul is inserted into the human body, and the human fades away and is completely taken over by the soul. The soul in the body gets all of the host's memories, all of their life. They understand everything about them because they get to live as them. But the main one in this book, Melanie, the main human, hasn't gone. She is coexisting in this body with Wanderer, who's the soul of this book, the alien, and Melanie floods Wanderer's memories with visions of this boy called Jared, who she has fallen in love with, and eventually Wanderer realizes she's in love with Jared as well. So they go on a mission to try and find Jared and save him, because the aliens are taking over. Jared's hidden, Melanie was hidden with him. They separated for a short time so that they could get supplies, or I think it comes out Melanie was looking for somebody else, and she left Jared to take care of her younger brother, and then Melanie got. And now they're looking for Jared to try and keep him safe. And that's what the book's about. It's very much a romance, very much a sci-fi, and it's kind of slipped into a bit of a dystopian as well. I like it. Now, it's written by Stephanie Meyer, who wrote the Twilight Saga. I was a fan of the Twilight Saga. I did not like the films. I really didn't. I thought they was just boring. But the books were done very well, and I really, really enjoyed the books. So when I said I'd read this, I was like, oh, well, I am interested in that, but I wasn't really interested at the same time. It was one of those, I will pick it up eventually, but will I care about it that much? And honestly, I am so glad I picked this up. This is one of the best books I've ever read. It is so good. It focuses on things so well, and I don't think there's been a point in this book. I'm 213 pages in now, and I don't think there's a point in this book that I've not enjoyed so far. Okay, maybe there is. Insta-love, that's there. Not a fan of Insta-love. I don't know how long the two main characters, Melanie and Jared, were together before they were officially in love, but on their first meeting, for some very unknown reason, Jared decides to kiss Melanie, and then he says, oh, right, I'll go back, don't run, don't leave me, or something like that. And she was like, I don't ever want you to leave me. Like, ugh, grow up. And that is literally the only thing I don't like about it. I don't like the insta-love. And I've never really read a book with insta-love other than Twilight. But I've never really read a book with insta-love, and yeah, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of that. Okay, now the main thing that I have to talk about with this book, because it is the thing that has stuck with me since the first page, and it just keeps popping up, and it knocks me. There is so much of an in-depth discussion, analysis, whatever you want to call it, on humanity as a race. This book takes such an in-depth look at humanity, and I can't get over it. it shocked me, and it made me really question us as a species. Like, it really did. So, page 47 of the book, and I think I'd noticed it earlier, but this is where it really hit home for me. And it said, "But we were not wasteful. We did make whatever we took better, more peaceful, more beautiful. And the humans were brutish and ungovernable. They had killed one another so frequently that murder had been accepted as a part of life. The various tortures they'd devised over the few millennia they'd lasted had been too much for me. I hadn't been able to bear even the dry official overviews. Wars had raged over the face of nearly every continent, sanctioned murder, ordered and viciously effective. Those who lived in peaceful nations had looked the other way as members of their own species starved on their own doorstep. There was no equality to the distribution of the planet's bounteous resources. Most vile, yet their offspring, the next generation, which my kind nearly worshipped, had all too often been victims of heinous crimes. And not just at the hands of strangers, but at the hands of the caretakers they were entrusted to. Even the huge sphere of the planet had been put into jeopardy throughout their careless and greedy mistakes. No one could compare what had been and what was now, and not admit that the earth was a better place thanks to us." Now that was said by one of the souls that had taken over the human body. And it spoke to me so much, because it is so true. It is so true. We, as a species, are just so accustomed to murder and war and famine and less fortunate countries just starving. We're all too aware of it, but we don't do much. Like, it's just become so culturally accepted now. There's another part in the book where it says Melanie is the main character. Wanderer is the soul that has inhabited Melanie's body. Melanie says the people in all of these newspapers that are committing murders and are part of these wars, this isn't the norm. And it made me just sit and think, well, is it? Is it the norm now? Because that's all we see, and we look at it and we're like, oh, all right, it's sad, but yeah, that's what happens. And it just, I just don't know where I am with that, because it really just drives home that we as a species are just so accustomed to a horrible way of life now. And it really spoke to me. There's a point in the book where Melanie tells Wanderer that, you know, the way that we figured out you had invaded us was because the news was so overcome with positivity. Nothing bad was happening. And that's how we knew. Like, really? I actually wrote down, I annotated the book, and I said, nothing good can come from humans. That's literally where I felt with that. When she said that, I was like, oh, so there's literally nothing good about humanity. You only noticed we was being taken over when aliens came and made the planet a better place. Like, what does that say about us as humans? The fact that we only notice that we're being invaded because the world's a better place. Because we as humans make it such a worse place. I'm very passionate about this. It really just stuck with me, and it drives home, and it just makes me think, like, where are we headed? Obviously, I don't think we're headed to the point where aliens are going to come and take over and make the world a better place. But as a species, we are heading here. We are heading to a point where we no longer care about all the sad things in the world because it was just so normal to us. And it's really just made me think about things and question, like, what am I a part of? Unwillingly, unknowingly. Because you see a lot of sadness, and I think everybody sees sadness, and they just think, there's not really much I can do about it. It's sad, but I can't do anything. So we just ignore it, and we just hope and pray for them to improve, but we don't actually do anything to actually improve it ourselves because we don't think we can. Yeah. It really makes me think. It really does. So sorry for that depressing lesson. I I really am loving this book. I really am. I think The Host is probably the best book I've ever read this year so far. If this continues, I'm very excited to see where it goes. But I think it's potentially in my top 20 books I've ever read. And I'm very interested to see where it leads. I'm so excited. So that is all from me. We have discussed The Host. I finished The Goldfinch. And we discussed In an Instant, which I feel as though I've been neglecting. And it makes me feel quite sad. So I'm going to have to go back to that this week for sure. And that's pretty much it. Tune in for my Goldfinch review. That will be coming very, very soon. Because I have a lot of things I need to chat about. And I can't wait to post that. So, yeah. Keep looking out. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Thank you very much, and goodbye.